Hello everyone, my name is Mark, coming to you with a sword review today of the Ronin Katana European longsword or two-handed sword or whatever they called it. I can never remember. But yes, anyways, the longsword from Ronin Katana. And if you can't tell, yes, I am rushing this review a bit because I promised I would do it. Long point is almost upon us. I got this sword months ago. I've been debating whether or not I need to do a few things to this sword, so I'm just going to come out and talk to you guys really quick about it. And in the end, whenever I browse Cult of Athena, I find this thing keeps on getting backordered anyway. So if you are going to get this weapon, you probably already are, or you plan to. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into the specs. Okay, so the sword specifications. Alright. So it comes out at a total of 47 inches overall with a 36 and 1/8 inch long blade. The grip being 7 1/4 inches long, and basic math will give you how long the pommel actually is. So those are the specs of the sword. And as for the materials, we've got a 1075 carbon steel for the blade, some kind of steel for the pommel and the crossguard. It's never really specified. I'm assuming it's some kind of mild steel. And yeah, that's basically what the materials are. The handle is made out of some form of wood. It's not very specific either. As you can see, handle's kind of coming apart, so I can just show you the wood, whatever that kind is. And the wood is overlaid with leather, and then it's got some cord wrapped around it. As for if it's actual leather, it may or may not be. I'm no expert on that. I want to say it's not, but then again, it could just be really cheap leather. And the cord is comfortable. It's a nice cord, but as you can probably see, the cord came off of mine, and not from any rigorous use or anything. It just sort of came apart. But yeah, anyways, that's what the sword is made out of. And yeah, I guess next we'll get into some general impressions. Alright, so without really mincing words, I guess we can just go ahead and talk about how I feel about this sword in particular. Well, it retails for about $250 on Cult of Athena, which is not bad. It's a good budget sword. And as for whether or not I like it, I do. I will say that it is a very hefty sword. The point of balance is about 4 and a little change, 4 1/8 inches. So the balance point is pretty far out there, and if you can't tell, the sword is fairly thick too. It does come very, very sharp. I found that it does perform very well when cutting things like water bottles and even almost making it through carpet cardboard rolls, which are very tough. In fact, they're almost entirely glue if I think about it. But yeah, the sword is very sharp, straight out of the box, so that's nice. And it's thick, has a little bit of a spine, but I would actually call this edge profile kind of like an apple seed. That's how I would describe it. So I don't know how easy that will be to sharpen in the future, but I know some people who can hopefully help me with that once I do eventually dull this out. But oh yeah, speaking of dullness, I did find that on the tip, on one of the sides, it is actually dull. I believe it. Is it this side? I can't tell. Yeah, it's this side. The sword is actually dull on the tip. I don't know if it's going to come across on the camera, but that's definitely a point against quality control there. The sword should be sharp all the way, especially at the tip, but that doesn't bother me too much. I'm sure it can be remedied. Okay, so that's the blade. It's sharp, it cuts well, it's forward balanced and hefty, so it'll make it through some pretty heavy targets, which is nice, but that also means that it's not very agile. So would you want to use this for a cutting competition? I don't know. If I were to enter one, I would probably end up doing so because it's the only sharp European sword I own. It's heavy. So, moving on to the handle. The crossguard, it's just a basic looking crossguard. There's really nothing to it. It's surprisingly thick, but the ridge up here is surprisingly comfortable. Like, you can thumb the blade and not have it dig into your thumb too much. So, that's pretty good. Nothing really to say there. The leather and cord, as I mentioned already, is very cheap. This is a made-in-China sword, after all. But yeah, I found it's surprising how cheap and unreliable this handle is, just because in use, I've just been slowly pulling this leather down, and as you can see, I can just pull it down even farther like this, and it just, oh, that's not good. And because of this, the cord wrap actually came undone on this part of the handle at least. And yeah, as you can see, it was affixed using some sort of double-sided tape. I don't know. I guess you got to shave costs somewhere, but still. Geez. And then finally we've got the pommel, which is neat looking faceted pommel. The only issue I have with it is that it's not really lined up properly with the rest of the edge. Basically, it is shifted slightly this way. So if you try to get some semblance of edge alignment from the pommel, you're going to struggle there because it's slightly off canter. I will say that the peen is very nice. It's nice and clean. There's even a video on the Cult of Athena site showing how they did it, which I thought was really cool. It's a nice solid peen. There's no wobble or anything. It's very solidly constructed, which is nice. Except, of course, for the the handle components. And if I come in close, you can probably see there's a gap between the wood and the cross. So that's not good. Quality control might want to look out for that. But yeah, there's not really much else to say about the sword. It's a hefty cutter. It looks like it'd be a thruster, but it cuts really nicely. I will say that the handle is fairly short. So if you are an early Lichtenauer sort of zealot and you will not grip the pommel at all, you will have little to no room for both of your hands. So I think this is a section of pommel that you can sort of permit yourself to grip and still have a little bit of room for our meaty, larger than medieval size hands. But yeah, other than that, the sword is just fine. I mean, I know I ragged on and on about how there are a lot of quality control and just general issues with the materials and whatnot, but I mean, the sword itself, for $250, it's not bad. It came out of the box nice and sharp. It cuts things. It's really great for solo practice, as long as you don't hit yourself with it, of course. But yeah, would I buy it again? Sure, but I think I would like to see Ronin Katana, the brand, actually address some of these issues with the handle. And that's basically it. If you are interested at all in the sheath, the sheath is basically made out of the same kind of maybe real, maybe not leather. Again, I'm no expert. It fits just fine. In fact, when I first got the sword, I couldn't get it out of the sheath without really struggling, but it fits pretty well. It is starting to finally come out a bit, but I have to really shake it to start to get it out. So it's not too bad. It's starting to finally loosen up a bit. And then it also comes with a sword belt. And as Cult of Athena noted, the sword belt, for some strange reason, wants to buckle up as if you were a left-handed swordsman. So you have to sort of buckle it in like this. Oh god, I can't even do it. I don't even know why they include this, because people who use these things for cutting aren't going to be using the sword belt. I guess if you're taking it to a Ren fair, which I don't know why you would. It's a sharp piece. But this is junk. Just forget about it. It's junk. Don't worry about it. But yeah, that's the sword. It's a pretty good, pretty decent budget sharp sword, and I don't regret buying it at all. I enjoy it for what it is, but I will hopefully be able to get a better quality sharp at some point down the road, because this is good for training, but the handle coming apart is bugging me. I think I'm gonna have to get that redone, which is annoying. So yeah, hopefully Ronin Katana, please, hopefully you can fix this issue and you will have a pretty decent budget sword. And yeah, hope you like the review. See you guys next time. Take it easy.